All right, red-white aggro. So this deck is trying to ask itself the question, basically, is it worth maybe being a little bit slower and slightly less consistent than straight mono red? So the things we're gaining by being in white are primarily Haktos the Unscarred here. Attacks each combat if able. When enters the battlefield, it chooses 2, 3, or 4 at random. It has protection from all other converted mana costs. Now, one thing that is kind of awkward to note is that Embercleave has a converted mana cost of 6, which means this always has protection from Embercleave. So we explicitly cannot put a sword on this card because equip does target a creature you control, and protection is both players. It's not like hexproof. We're also gaining Banishing Light, which this is an interesting card to gain. I think this card's very good in the format in general, and being able to exile opposing Anax is particularly useful, which is nice. So let's go ahead and hop on into an event here with this one and see how it goes. Bernie Sanders is holding a rally in your hometown today. That's awesome. Not looking for a 5th land here. Against turn 1 Temple of Mystery, I think I just play a 2nd Temple here rather than hold up Stomp. Because WotC's been around for 25 years, they know we're all coming back regardless, Beansies. They don't need to give us stuff. You got a notification to bump a deck for 30k. It's like they don't know what the end game is. It's just giving you your options, Anaronk. Remember, if you are going to use your bits to bump decks as opposed to saving for Shillionaire, the best bump value is the 50k bits. So 10k bits bumps by 1 point, 30k bits bumps by 5 points, and 50k bumps by 10. MB, thank you for the very generous tip. I appreciate that. For Esper Control, sounds wonderful. Point. So shillings are kind of like a free-to-play currency. You accrue them just for watching the stream, shillings. So bits you have to spend actual dollars on, and they give me actual dollars. Shillings are just like a for funsies type thing. Which archetype do I think I see winning this weekend? I think if I was playing the tournament, I would want to be playing mono red or Jeskai Fires. Which made me really happy that Javier landed on Fires. I think that deck's super powerful. 2 CMC is the worst against Teamurek. I don't know. It means that this being on 2 means it dies to Bonecrusher, and I guess it gets bounced by Brazen Borrower. Yeah, 2 is awkward. I feel like 3 is probably the sweet spot, because 4 dies to their Sweeper. Temporarily embarrassed Shillionaire. Speaking of Reclamation, feel like there's a good chance we see this just get bounced here. Get bounced or stomped. Probably gonna play Fabled Passage, Banishing Light their Reclamation, and then stomp their face this turn. I think if one of the lesser experienced players had shown up with Jund, I wouldn't expect reasonable things out of it, but Canister's probably one of the top 3 or 4 players in that tournament. So if anybody could have a chance to do well with that archetype still, it's definitely him. Can you explain one more time? I don't understand about bits and shillings. Do we earn shillings if we purchase bits? So once per 30 days, you can get bonus shillings from gifting a sub or cheering some amount of bits. But you cannot just endlessly buy shillings. Shillings are primarily got by watching the stream. If you click on the shillings icon and click how to earn shillings, it'll explain the different ways you can accelerate and earn extra, but they're all watch time based other than once per 30 days gifting a sub or cheering some bits. Hey, Coons, thanks for the sub gift. Speaking of, how many bits is it for a bonus? I believe any amount of bits qualifies for the same bonus. The minimum bits to cheer on my channel is 50. I believe 50 bits should get you the same bonus as any other amount. Yeah, in my opinion, it'll be a very sad day for the Democratic Party if Bloomberg wins the nomination. Really sends the wrong message. Let's test it out, take my money. Thanks, 30 digits. Genesis Protect, thanks for the 16 months. You put this towards my EDC build around. I'm loving the core and want to see what you go, but definitely into the Frozen Sky. That'll get added into the queue at the end of the day's stream. So, fun fact, Wargy. The Gitrog monster isn't legal in Historic Best of 3 due to an arena bug at the moment, so we weren't able to play it, which was really sad. Would Bloomberg or Biden be worse, in my opinion? I don't know, honestly. Probably Bloomberg. I feel like the message Bloomberg winning the nomination would send to all other billionaires would be not good for our country. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about winning the nom, about Biden getting the nom at this point. We'll see. If he falls short in South Carolina again, Biden's probably out of it. Eugen Sergio, thank you for the 13 months. Welcome back. What's his name? Trevor Noah from The Daily Show on Comedy Central. He had a series of clips on his episode last night or the night before that was just like Biden insulting voters constantly. That was just like very funny. That's weird. Our team of reclamation. I'm actually really excited. I'm actually really excited to see good players play with and against Team Rec this weekend, because without fail, every time we play against Team Rec on this stream, it is a smoldering dumpster fire that does not look competitive. So I'm really interested to see what it looks like when good players are playing with and against it. Because I'm sure we've just been a little bit lucky because it's been everywhere, but it's interesting to see what it looks like on the biggest stage. Yeah, our viewer count's a little bit higher than normal today because Crokies took the morning off. So normally I split a lot of the daytime viewers with him, or some number of them. Usually we hit like 1,600 or so for arena, so about 25% more than that. Personally, I'm a pony-faced dog soldier. Yeah, this is fine, right? We'll fetch Mountain on 1, Plains this, and this is untapped. It's been good, Thomas. We had a little bit of a sad start because of a bug not letting us play Gitrog Monster to start in Historic, but the Sultai Dread Presence deck was a real treat. Yeah, I honestly don't know how Croakies constantly puts up the hours that he does. It's gotta be real draining. Anything more than like 45 hours or so live in the week, and I really feel it, especially in my outside life. Oh, they missed a land there. That's good for us. All right, well, let's just play a 4-3 and press our advantage. Next turn we can cleave them. Hey, look, their deck's gonna do nothing and it's gonna die. That's really weird. I've never seen their deck do nothing and die before. Happy Valentine's Day, honey. Yeah, so they're periodically adding Brawl champions. So both Talrand and Gitrog Monster are legal in Historic right now, which is great. Oh, you know, maybe I'm supposed to move my Embercleave here. Yeah, risk 2. All of the direct to Brawl commanders they printed. Who's the best raid starting champion? The Elf or the Mage are both really good. Most all the starting champions are good in different ones. Athel's a starting champion too, right? That one's also good. The bits are coming from inside the house. All right, let's bump up the jam here. Banishing Light the Reclamation here. I actually used the Archer Fox to farm 12-6 on Brutal. So he's a very, very reasonable campaign farmer. I still have her in my arena lineup, although she'll probably eventually get replaced in my arena lineup. You can't equip at instant speed, chat. Equipping at sorcery speed. Oh, did I have Castle for lethal there? I might have missed Castle lethal. I wasn't paying attention. I don't remember Clad. When I first started, I probably played what you could probably classify as a borderline unhealthy amount. And many Magic players can relate. I have what you could definitely describe as an addictive personality. Most people who enjoy gambling adjacent things tend to have addictive personalities. The Bernie banner is my official personal endorsement of Bernie Sanders. He gives me no dollars. In fact, quite the opposite. I have sent his campaign money. I think Bernie Sanders is the best chance to bring about the progressive change we need in the United States. He is the best chance to preserve the planet that my children need to live on from climate change, and he's the best chance to address the disaster of a healthcare system that bankrupts and kills many people every year in the United States. I'm gonna give you my number one piece of advice for voting in this primary chat. It actually applies to Magic too. Don't metagame your vote this primary season. Don't try and make a decision based on what decisions you think other people that you're never going to meet are going to make. Vote for the best candidate that you think will do the best job. And in my opinion, that's Bernie. Maybe I'm just supposed to stomp there. They could just be a flash deck, though, and we could just be gut either way here. The fact that we don't have a lot of threat density in hand is going to be bad if they're a flash deck. Yeah. A number of people in the Senate are going to get reelected as well, Wiki. And in an ideal world, not only does a Democrat win the presidency, but the Senate flips to a Democrat majority as well. I think we just keep jamming threats while we have them. They hit their 4th land here, so like letting them untap and have Frilled Mystic up isn't ideal. So like feels bad to get counterspelled again, but they're more likely to have a counterspell next turn if I wait. I think a lot of people, what they actually want out of life and the government would support Bernie if there wasn't such an incredible amount of money spent to distract and misinform people. I genuinely think that most people don't want others to die because they can't see a doctor and don't want others to, like, you know, go bankrupt for medical bills. But the insurance lobby is $1 billion industry, and they spend millions spewing misinformation, confusing, and lying to people, so they don't understand what is going on. As someone who has taught college level math and high school math, a lot of people just don't get it, and they're not good at math, and it's hard for them to understand, and it's easy to confuse them. I agree that Bernie's age is a concern, but at this point, looking at all the other candidates, I trust Bernie to pick a progressive running mate more than I trust anybody else running to get things done. All right. Our sideboard's really not good here, huh? We have some very specific cards on our board for very specific matchups. Blue-green Flash, like the current opponent's playing, is a deck that's mostly fallen off the map. So it's not too surprising that there's not anything in here. Maybe Fry, yeah, maybe Tomik just because he's cheap. There's definitely merit to having threats that get under their counter spells, so trimming some of my 4s to bring in more 3s sounds appealing. Who do I think is Bernie's VP choice? I honestly don't know. It could be a range of people. But some people might think, why vote for him if I'm convinced he's going to lose the general election? I don't think you can convince people who believe illogical things to believe logical things most of the time. It's a lot of wasted effort. I think if people who are questioning whether or not Sanders could win the general at this point should look at all the various different polls. They should look at how Sanders does with independents in general. Like, look, if you look at the data, you shouldn't be asking that question. Getting Skyknight Vanguard down here is excellent because it creates a constant flow of power even if we don't manage to resolve another spell here. So prioritizing getting this card into play as opposed to the Tomik to start. I don't think it's as simple as Warren dropping out strictly helps Bernie. I think a lot of people forget that humans aren't largely logical and they don't all vote based on policy. There are a number of people who are Warren voters first, who would be Klobuchar voters second, just like there's a number of people who are Biden voters first, who have Bernie as their second choice. Not everybody is voting straight progressive or straight centrist. They have other internal intrinsic motivating factors. I think I just pass here. I don't think I want to jam my cleave. I guess they don't have... This is our best chance to resolve cleave, right? Maybe I do just jam. I have 2 of them. All right, quench me. Okay. I think... Is it crazy to put this on a token? Because if I get Brazen Borrower, I just get slaughtered, right? Like if I put this on Anax and they Brazen Borrower me... I think I want to put this on a token. It feels like they have Brazen Borrower here. I want to just diversify which of my threats are powerful as opposed to putting all my eggs in the Hardened basket. Do not need him. Again, I already have another one. Perfect. And paid off for being conservative here. So now I'm going to play Tomik pre-combat, because if this gets counterspelled, I have a window to Rimrock this to pump them for extra damage. So now they're tapped out. So this is 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll put them to 1 this turn. We have 4, possibly 5 lethal threats with Skyguard next turn. Just a general comment that both sides-ism, they're all the same, they're almost just as bad. That's always going to get you timed out in my chat. It's nonsense and it's not based in reality. You're right. There are bad faith actors and people in the DNC like Mike Bloomberg who are people I'd prefer weren't there or running on different platforms. But there's also a number of people who are fighting for progressive change. The Bernie Sanders, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes, the entire wing that is the Justice Democrats that are actually trying to work within the system. I agree with you that a third party would be ideal, but saying that, implying or saying directly that the DNC is the same or as bad as the GOP is not based in reality. I think I'm going to trim some of my 4-drops, especially on the draw here. Maybe a Banishing Light too. I think I want these fries. I think I'm going to cut 2 of my 4s. Just like expensive spells or such a big risk here. Shave the head. You got to talk Christy into it, Bob. Christy is really adamant she doesn't want me to shave the head. And I don't really have strong feelings one way or another, so I just do what I'm told. Hey, Victory, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I think I bottom Fry here and just keep threat, sword. Usually pretty effective, Bob. She's on Discord, so you could tag her and ask her. All right, we get to resolve our 3-1. That's a good start. You're really bad at math, but good at magic. What other traits do you see people have to enable to excel at magic? Well, generally speaking, I'd say people who are good at math and software type stuff tend to be good at magic. I also think, as someone who's like watched a lot of teachers and taught myself, I think there's a lot of people out there who think they're bad at math that are actually quite fine or even good at math. They just haven't had it taught in a good manner to them before. Thank you for the 19 months, Bloodbath. I appreciate the continued support. Welcome back. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, Beansy. This reality is something else. Okay, so now we attack with these, and I think we just leave it to them to blink first. It's weird that so many people want to pay to groom Jeff. Something. Actually, speaking of paying to groom and things like that, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, on the 24th, I think it is, I'm going to be doing a charity stream for St. Jude. And I need to come up with some stretch goals for donation amounts. Maybe we could do some grooming stuff for that. Thanks for the Twitch Prime support, Prob. I appreciate it. Welcome back. That could be the excuse to dye the hair and beard again. Declan, my 4-year-old's been asking me when I'm going to dye my hair again. Nudes for St. Jude. I think some of the donation amounts we're gonna do to extend the stream. Like I think I'm gonna do at least 8 hours. Maybe we'll have the first couple of stretch goals extend the stream by a deck or two when we hit them. Look at that. Got our gems. Off to a 2-0 start here. There's a lot of legal issues surrounding donations to running donation things for campaigns or political campaigns. And like I said, I've already got something set up to do something for St. Jude on the 24th. So I'm definitely doing a charity stream on the 24th for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Just got to figure out some of the details of what we're going to do surrounding that. All right. Do we keep Haktos or Torbran? I feel like on the principle of this deck, I'm supposed to keep Haktos. We also could draw a red or white source to cast this, whereas if we draw another white source, I can't cast this. Pioneer meta is demoralizing me going to SCG Indy, but it's the gathering that makes Magic great. Thanks for the 1.5 Kyle. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hopefully there's updates on Monday. Hopefully the ban list doesn't say what it is come Monday for Pioneer. It's fine. Red source still casts Haktos here, right? You think math education is hamstrung by the idea that elementary schools can't understand discrete mathematics, the concepts in discrete related to theory and induction were useful in developing math aptitudes? I don't know. I have a very little bit of background in math education, but it's been a long time since I did anything related to that. And as is often the case when we talk about things on here, you should defer to experts. I think I lead on this. They have a removal spell. This is the cat that comes back later. Defer. Yes, I would always defer to the doctor, lawyer, astronauts present in Twitch chat. Doctor, lawyer, astronauts are my favorite. All right, so I think we just jam Haktos here. 3. Hashtag never lucky. Rider me, daddy. How'd you know my profession, right? Oh, your Twitch chat's marriage counselors now as well. Okay, actually didn't matter. They had whips and chains. You know, they know exactly what Haktos likes, chat. Whips and chains. Okay, if they have a Ritualist Soot next turn, we could be in a little bit of trouble. We do have Phoenix at least to get a little bit of gas going again. I think I exile a land here because this can fetch and go to my bin, which gives more food for this later. So Burb means we're not just dead to this Bolas. Math education is hamstrung by the idea that people are inherently good or bad at it and the quest for a single universal way to teach it. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I also think something that doesn't get brought up enough is that, like, we expect all people and all children to, like, perform math at the same level and the same grade, and, like, much like physical attributes, different people are good at different things. Like, we don't expect all children to perform at the same level in, like, gym class, right? So it's weird to me that we expect them to all perform at the same level in terms of math as well. All right, Castle looking really good here. So let's send this here, send this here, send this here. The extra token will go this way. We'll fire up the castle and kill their Nikki Bee. Okay. I mean, Torbran would still be really good on this board, right? You know what else is really good on this board? That one. That one right there. Really, really good on this board. I'm going to diversify my threats again here and attach this sword to a token rather than the Phoenix. Because if they have a removal spell, I don't want them to kill my one large threat. Because I can't quite escape the Phoenix back just yet. Look at that. Played around that nicely. Down to 1. Survey says... We just click submit. I think we just click submit, huh? Like, maybe you could board in Friar Decree, but, like, I think 4 Banishing Light is plenty of removal spells. So I kind of think I'm on just the run it back plan here. Any thoughts or commentary on that? Yeah, I think we're just gonna run it back. Yeah, I feel like the risk of cutting Banishing Light and them having random black threats, like Kroxa, for instance. Maybe Banishing Light for the Devout Decrees, just because Devout Decree scries one and it's a little bit cheaper, could be okay. I think if we trim Light, I'd rather have Banishing Light. I'd rather have Devour than Fry. So, I think the reason why Tectonic Giant hasn't really shown up in this format is because this format's not really about grindy mid-range stuff for the most part. In large part, the things that are good in this format are obnoxious combo decks. And like generating value turn after turn isn't really what wins games of Magic in this standard format for the most part. And like that's what Tectonic Giant does. Giant's very reasonable in a deck that's interested in being a little bit slow and fair. And it feels like there just aren't enough matches in this format that are about being slow and fair, where you want to get paid off for doing that. Okay. Maybe I do want some decrees. Stomp is good here, though. Moment. Feels magic, man. I am once again asking you for a third land, Magic Arena. Discard my backup Haktos here. Temple of Tilt. Temple of Tilt. Do 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 beep beep beep. The good news is I get to Banishing Light. I get to Banishing Light their Nickel Bolas this turn. So yeah, we got that going for us. Gonna exile a Torbran here, I think. He's so angry, chat. Poor Nikki B needs to calm down. Maybe I do want some Devouring Lights. I'm not sure that's beatable. Because, like, I can't put Cleave on Haktos here. That's just going to lifelink us into the ground. Haktos has to attack every turn, chat. And he doesn't really race that card. So Haktos attacks past it, but the card lifelinks for 4. And they also have a grip full of cards here still. So just stumbled for a little bit too long. Just bottoming anything that's not a land tier. Even though that's a tapped land, I think we keep it. Sorry about that. I was, gonna have some early lunch here, so I was pulling out my Invisalign. I don't show that on stream. If you want to see me take out my Invisalign, you gotta subscribe to my OnlyFans. Thanks for the 38 months, Bob. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Really, actually, so like, it feels bad to get hit by Cry there, but the fact that Cry happened before we Phoenix is really good for us. Yeah, it's a bit better. Usually 2 to 3 days after, it's not too bad. I think I decree here, even though it's not quite mana efficient, because I'd like to scry into a land if possible. Perfect. Right. Hopefully this lands on like 4. I think 4 is the best shot. Yeah. So it doesn't get Murderous Ridered, doesn't get Stomped, doesn't get Brazen Borrowed. Yeah, look at that. This naturally doesn't die to Ritual, so which is great. Doesn't die to Nicol Bolas. Feels Grixis, man. Feels. I don't know what they were expecting to happen there. Like, not only is this protection from 4, but like it costs 4. It would die to Cryocanorium. Yep. Yeah, they could have just been dead to the card. Oh, yeah, right. It's protection from not 4, right? So 4s could kill it. It just costs more than 3. There you go. There you go. That makes sense. For those of you taking notes at home on how to play this deck well, you'll note that we skillfully rolled a 3. Or rolled 4 when they had Murderous Rider to dodge that. So, if you're gonna try and attempt to play this deck on your own, I'd recommend practicing flipping some coins. I think I'm actually just gonna play this and then play a tap plan, so that way I can set up to Haktos next turn, potentially. Although, if they just pass with mana up next turn, I'll probably Bonecrusher Giant instead, as opposed to running us into a potential counterspell. Alright, so offering this trade to start, because this could land on 3. Alright, so we're hoping Haktos lands on 4 here, I think. Swish, chat, swish. Again, competitive coin flipping. Work on it. Happy Valentine's Day, Nemesis. Yeah, the red sweeper can hit this, but it doesn't get Brazen Borrowed or Stomped or blocked by Giant here, which is what we wanted. We aim for nothing but professionalism here, Bob. Now, a real question is, do I double stomp this and just 9 them? I think the answer is yes, huh? Just keep Rimrock alive. Okay. Maybe that was too aggressive. I should just save my stomps for their face. I see people talking about Hushbringer in chat. Hushbringer does not impact Haktos. Deck queues are for peasants. Thanks for the absurd biddies, Bob. Tails End also does not. This is not a trigger that uses the stack, chat, which is confusing. It's an important distinction, but it's confusing. It's like Spyglass or Pithing Needle or Phyrexian Revoker. When a card reads as this enters the battlefield, that means it is a replacement effect as it enters. Combo and aggro. We actually died to mono red twice in the Pioneer League this morning, and we would have combo killed them on our turn 4 if they hadn't killed us on their turn 4. Pioneer was a dumpster fire. was not a good scene. All right, I feel like yet again, this is a matchup where we don't want to grind. I think I'm going to trim 2 of these, and I'm going to bring in 2 Disenchants, because killing their adventure card, the Clover, is probably pretty important. Click, submit. I don't know that Fry is good enough. We don't have anything extra in the board that kills Innkeeper. Here lately, the default answer to how is Pioneer should just be dumpster fire. Yeah, until further notice, that's it. I'm tentatively reducing my Pioneer schedule to 3 days a week starting next week. If they make changes on Monday, I'll probably continue doing it every day of the week to start 5 days a week. But as long as they let it be a stewing combo dumpster fire, I'm gonna go down to 3 days a week and do some more standard, because standard's been great. Let's just stomp this before it draws a card. Hey, awesome, Monster Man. Also, good comment in general. If you ever have a question about things like the Haktos interaction we were just discussing, and you're a subscriber, there's a judge role in the subs Discord server, who are folks that I've confirmed are Magic judges that have said they are happy to answer questions for folks in Hoaglandia. If you are not a subscriber and you do a Google search, there's also plenty of other means to interact with official Magic judges that you don't have to be subscribed to access. Yes, Worlds coverage starts in a little over an hour from now. However, they will be doing limited first. My plan today is to stream standard until the standard portion of World starts, assuming we don't lose all of our viewers when the limited portion starts. If we stay above like 1,600 people, I think, I plan to stream until they start standard or so. Let's just get rid of the Lucky Clover before they get to use it here. Worth noting, Banishing Light can be a touch awkward in this matchup just because they do have 4 Brazen Borrowers. How did they do the draft? They had the players draft in paper yesterday, and they're going to be casting a pre-recorded draft to start today, and then they'll be playing the draft matches on the Arena client. Brian Offman, MTG, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to Hoaglandia. I appreciate you keeping me around this month with that. Sounds good, Bob. See you in a bit. Tapped red source is still better than missing a red source. We have a giant to play this turn, which is reasonable. I think I'm gonna bottom. I don't really need a 3rd red source at this point, he says before he draws a Torbran. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if our viewer count dips more during the actual draft segment and then goes back up when they actually start the draft gameplay. Because as someone who watches content, I definitely know watching the draft portion is more interesting than watching the limited gameplay. So I think with a 2 and 3 mana threat that they have in play here, I think it's actually correct for me to lead on Anax next turn as opposed to Haktos, because there's a good chance Haktos just gets blocked and doesn't do a whole lot. Because remember, this has protection from my Embercleave, so I can't put Cleave onto it. Maybe I was supposed to keep the Sacred Foundry if this was my plan, because if I would have kept Sacred Foundry, I could have played Bonecrusher Giant this turn as well, which would have been a little better. Yeah, I think bottoming that land was a mistake on my part. Hey, Lullum, thanks for the 16 months. Welcome back. Fun fact, I drafted Lara with you and some folks some years ago. Been lurking your content on YouTube for a while. And finally have the schedule to check it out live. Thanks for awesome content. Hey, thanks for keeping me around making it. It's good to have you here in a live one. I don't really know what my plan was. I was just kind of winging it. And obviously we're in a worse spot because of that decision. Like, yeah. Probably dead here. Yeah, just stumbled a little bit too much. We might have been in this game if I would have made a better choice with that land. Let's try and take game 3 on the play, huh? Have a good one, so many birds. Hey, Captain Command. Might be a couple of days late, but congrats to the next child. Also, can we offer timeouts? Always, Captain Command. With the third child coming up, that means the forecast of number of timeouts in my house is probably higher long term. This is like, I think this falls into like hand sucks keep territory. I can like cast any spells that I draw. If we don't draw any spells, we might be a little bit behind, especially if they stomp the Rimrock Knight. We'll see. I wouldn't fault someone for mulliganing this hand, but I think it's like on the low end of keepable for us. Yeah. Great. Creature. Okay. It's not a castable creature this turn, but all things considered, very reasonable. Hopefully they play like the artifact here, the Clover, and we get to disenchant it would be ideal. Probably just going to see this play out though. Yep. Yeah, actually, if you weren't aware, if you are a judge and you're in the Discord and you weren't aware that I tag people with the judge role, feel free to DM me on Discord and I can get you set up with that if you have the judge test and all that passed. Basically, just need a screenshot of your judge apps confirming you are you. About to get brazenly borrowed. Aether Gusted. Brutal. Rough. The Snooty Doobie. Thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Oh, Twitch name. Oh, Twitch names. Crunch. Hey, Willem. Thanks for the 26 months. Happy Friday, folks. Everybody's ready to start off an awesome weekend. Assert dominance with my castle. Pump up the jam. Close set. Like I said, This hand was a little bit speculative, and then didn't really pan out for us. We're 3-1 now. Keep on keeping on. One of the upsides to playing aggro decks is like we're 3-1 now. We've only been playing for 55 minutes. Whereas like the Sultai Dread deck we played before this, we went like 3-1 in like almost 2 hours with that one. Easier to get in more games when Out of curiosity, do you know what % of US viewers you get while on lives versus YouTube? I don't remember offhand if Twitch has US metrics or not. Let me click channel analytics. Twitch does not appear to guesstimate where people are from. YouTube gives me estimations of where my viewers are located physically, but Twitch does not. Will Bant Calyx ever get played? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. I promise you they all get played eventually. We're going to be doing a little bit less Pioneer, which will fit in more time for Standard too. Hey, that's nice. Let's lead on this, because next turn I can Phoenix and then crack for 6. Some decks prefer to draw first. Some limited formats, drawing first can be correct. Yeah, there hasn't been a standard constructed deck in, gosh, since I started playing Standard, you know, competitively 6 or 7 years ago. I just wanted to go second. Can we win this race? I'm not sure that we can. Let's find out. Maybe this is wrong, because they're attacking for 7 right now. They cast a spell, it's 8. They cast an Embercleave, it's close to dead. Does Anax break the color pie? I don't think so. I think there were some people that chose to draw in the mono red aggro mirror. God bless them. Remember when I said we might be dead? Pepperidge forever peppers. But remember, chat, as you witness this turn, many very smart Magic players assured me on Twitter that mono red is not a combo deck. Definitely just aggro, fair curves, all that jazz. And for the record, I disagree with that take. I think the mono red deck in its current iteration is very similar to what I would define as a combo deck. I'm gonna bring in 4 Devout Decree here and hope for the best. think we lead on Fabled Passage here. Because if I lead on Sacred Foundry tapped, well, it could save us some life. In the event we don't draw a third untapped land, not being able to go 2-3 would be a really big drawback. Hey, King Koopa. Been loving the 4-color Enigmatic deck. Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely one of my recent favorites. Hey, nice, Kyle. Perfect. That was an excellent draw here. Adds pressure to the board and keeps their Scorched Spitter at bay potentially. Until it gets stomped, that is. Have a shock? Nope. Here's your... There's my champion for the weekend. Javier Dominguez and his Flaming Sword. Crunch, crunch. I think that's probably pretty bad, Peak and Fern. It's too vulnerable to just, like, getting removal spelled. I think we've died, chat. The fact that I just, like, can't double spell defensively here is rough. I'm gonna attack with this and make another 1-1, I suppose. I'm not dead on board. I get to eat this, trade with this, and then I take 2-4. That's almost lethal. That one's lethal. Howdy, Admiral. That felt rough. I see some people in chat talking about Shock not being good. Shock's definitely super reasonable in the red mirror. And I think the fact that, like, our opponent there had so many cheap threats and we couldn't answer them in terms of resource efficiency was, like, a really big deal. You know, I don't know how I feel about this one overall. I feel like my number one takeaway is if I were to try this again, a red aggro deck with this white splash, I would cut the Tectonic Giant. Like we talked about in the set when we were talking about why doesn't this card see more play. This card just isn't what this format is about. Generating incremental card advantage with a card that doesn't hurt our opponent the turn it gets cast just isn't very good in these creature decks. I think Anax, Hardened, the Forge is quite absurd with Embercleave. We should just play 4 of them. I also think Anax is really nice because when you draw a second Anax, you can play the second one, sacrifice one of them, and then you get 4 1/1s. So, like, the failure rate when you draw too many of this as a legendary creature is still quite good. As far as playing against mono red goes, I do think you probably just want some shocks or red cap melees in your 75. I think red cap honestly might arguably even be better than the Devout Decree just because being able to trade with them on resource efficiency is really, really important. I feel like a lot of the games these slightly bigger decks die to the opposing red decks. They're losing because they're not efficient enough to match them in the game that they're playing. You just die with a bunch of expensive cards in your hand, so I feel like rather than jamming this giant pile of decrees, I'd rather jam a giant pile of red cap melees to approach that matchup. Pyrohelix could be good. That Pyrohelix is a card that can generate some card advantage for you and also kind of trades on efficiency, in terms of efficiency, right? Like 1 Pyrohelix can kill 2 1-mana. Two 1-mana things. All right, we had a cut the line for some blue-white control. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll. I get everything flipped over for that. This will probably be like a 3 or 4 minute break because I need to run to the bathroom and brush my teeth and put my Invisalign back in too. But we'll be back in just a few minutes with some blue-white control. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.